and she-brews, welcome to another video, and today we are getting cancelled. Woo! That's right, you think I just go after libtards because they've been libtarded lately? No. I also go for the occasional retard on the other side of the pasture. That's right, no retards are safe from me. Today we're talking about Candace Owens, alright? So, I know, I have a lot of Candace Owens fans in my audience, and I don't hate her, alright? This isn't me hating on her. I am getting really deep down the rabbit hole to talk about how, in my opinion, Candace Owens is completely dumb. I think she has 69 IQ on a good day. Today, I will be looking into her support of self-proclaimed and convicted pedophiles, okay? Because audience captured, she's on that side of the spectrum. We will also be going through insanely wrong Jewish conspiracy theories that she's been posting unchecked. And also, we're going to talk about how she thinks that dinosaurs are fake and gay and how the earth is flat. And guys, you're literally not ready for the amount of research I've done for this video. Unfortunately, I am the only one doing researches into political figures that get into trouble. Come on, some other people. Can you guys do it so I can react it? God damn it. All right, so anyway, this is Candace Owens. You will know her for having 4 million subscribers and a lot of views on her videos. Her most recent video is defending Andrew Tate, a self-proclaimed sex trafficker, rapist, pedophile. As I have covered in the past. This is my most recent video. Andrew Tate is done. This is a video where I show without a shadow of a doubt that this dude is a self-admitted, self-proclaimed sex trafficking rapist pedophile, but she still defends him. I will cover it briefly, but this will not be the major talking point since I've already covered a big chunk of that in my previous video. I just out here making enemies with everyone I can. And anyone that says that I'm a grifter does not understand what grifting means, because I make enemies with everyone I could possibly find. So now, before getting into all the incredibly awful shit she's said and done, in my opinion, because she is completely audience captured, I think she's just falling down like the retarded rabbit hole, like literally at breakneck pace. Unfortunately, I do my own research and it's very annoying. I would way prefer someone else did the research and just shit it in my mouth like she tends to do. So first, I am going to make the claim that Candace Owens is in fact stupid. All right, now we will be backing this up with science. This is a clip where Candace Owens is not sure if the earth is round or flat.
And a woman messaged me about the flat earth theory, which I had never looked into. And she sent me all of these links and she's like, you need to look into this, blah, blah, blah. And it's antithetical to the Bible and all of this stuff. And I saved the links and I was like, I'm going to watch this later. And my husband was like, why even bother looking into this? And I'm like, because I'm just genuinely, I'm a curious person. So if someone thinks anything, I have to read it and know what they believe, because faith is what drives people ultimately. But then when I said to him, I said to him, because I don't know if the earth is round or flat or an octagon or anything. Science is obviously a faith.
I called it 2 weeks ago right here on this channel whenever she was denying the moon landing, and then she was also questioning dinosaurs, whatever that means. I said
We're getting to the dinosaur questioning in just a minute, guys. In just a minute, we are getting there. I hope you're ready.
Wait, she will eventually adopt the flat earth view. And next up is going to be geocentrism.
Yeah, so get ready to cook, because I want to make the claim first that she's a dumbass before getting into the actual details, because when she says that she thinks about things deeply, I really want you to understand what I'm talking about here. Now, if this would be the only clip of her implying that she thinks that the earth might be flat, this really wouldn't be a big deal. Now, what I do think is funny is the fact that there are multiple clips of her promoting the flat earth theory.
Or he's like, what do you read?
Now, Nux, I know that I'm gonna already have people in the audience saying, but Nux, why didn't you debunk the claims? All right, listen, if I would debunk every claim she'd ever make, we would be here for years, and y'all know that the earth is round, okay? You look into the sky, all the solar bodies are round, and the earth must be the flat one. She also thinks that the earth, that the sun circles the earth instead of the earth circles the sun. Ain't no when ready for this when we are going full retard down this rabbit hole. I felt like instead of actually combating every opinion she has, the first thing I have to do is properly analyze her as a retard and then move into that shit.
And I feel like a regular wife says something, I don't know, maybe a love series, Nora Roberts, sweeping her away. Me, on the other hand, he rolled over, he asked me, and I said, oh, I'm reading a flat earth theory. And it dawned into an entire conversation. He's like, why are you reading a flat earth theory? And I'm like, because somebody messaged me on Manect about it, and they included some links, and I'm just reading them. I don't know. I'm just an interested person. No matter what, if there's a bunch of people that believe something, I now want to know what it is that they believe. And of course, he pushed me on this, and he was talking about the earth curvature and science. And I said to him, listen, I'm not a flat earther. I'm not a round earther. Actually, what I am is I am somebody who has left the cult of science.
She has left the cult of science, ladies and gentlemen. She is no longer a round earther like all you guys in the cult.
I have left the mega church of science. Wow. Because what I have now realized is that science, what it is actually, if you think about it, is a pagan faith.
Science is a pagan faith, ladies and gentlemen. Now, if you have cancer and you go to a doctor to cure your cancer based on scientific discoveries, you might just be in a pagan faith, guys. Nothing like the mega church of science to silence you. Now, Candace Owens is being very serious about this. In fact, she sent producers to Antarctica to research if the Earth is flat. Now, we haven't heard much about this because they went to Antarctica and it turned out, nope, the Earth is not in fact flat. There was no giant ice wall, secret dome of the Earth. That turns out that wasn't real, much to everyone's surprise. How is science a pagan faith? This is what I am telling you. I want to paint this picture. She's an idiot, first and foremost. Then we are going to go down the rabbit hole of all the actual insanity. I did way too much research, and I have to share it with you guys because now you need to know all about this. Now, you might think that this was her worst take. You probably think her worst opinion ever, the actual dumbest take of all time, is the flat earth theory. You fools! The flat earth theory is genius compared to the dinosaur opinion.
You don't believe dinosaurs are real.
So this is the funny one. So this is one of the ones where I'm like, gut. I was like, dinosaurs? That seems pretty fake and gay.
Nothing quite as fake and gay as dinosaurs, am I right, guys?
Savannah's from Tennessee. She's like, I've never believed in dinosaurs. Like, literally, everyone thinks there's like some conspiracy behind it. Say they don't believe in God, but then tell them like dinosaurs aren't real and they fall apart. Like, I'm like, okay, so they're just roaming the planet. And I was like,
how gay of things roaming the planet? That's crazy.
That's really interesting. But then, because I got into and very much subscribe and believe and know to be true that there is a Christ conspiracy that's happening right now.
That's right. Dinosaurs, they're part of the Christ conspiracy, guys.
Now, which is
By the way, let me make this clear. Dinosaurs in no way debunk the Bible, okay? In Genesis 1:21, it literally states, in Hebrew, all right, that God created giant alligators. All right, or however you want to translate it. In the English, they translate it as giant sea serpents or whatever. I don't know. But they literally, it's in Genesis 1:21. Also, because a lot of people think that this is some sort of crazy debunk, some sort of insane, crazy debunk or something. It literally says in the Bible that, and it was evening and it was morning and that's one day. It was evening, it was morning, and that's 2 days. Like that's basic freaking Bible. Guys, the sun was invented on the 4th day. How is it evening and then morning on day 1? Evening and then morning on day 2? There's no freaking sun. Well, the answer is it's metaphorical, okay? So, could we not, come here and say that there's a Christ conspiracy and dinosaurs are invented by Jews to make you stop believing in Jesus? Because we're getting down that rabbit hole.
Intentional removal of Christ because they want people not to believe in God, but instead to believe in humans. Well, that is what evolutionary theory was about.
Evolutionary theory? The cult of science.
Because rather than making human beings believe that they had a creator, there was no concept of a dinosaur until 1850. That's
1850. That's when the concept of dinosaurs started. Why was it not around before? Is it possible because science wasn't caught up yet to actually research the bones? Was that the bone is 600 million years old or whatever?
Very recent. And then within that same decade, they were like, dinosaur bones.
Whoa!
And they started finding them everywhere. I'm like, okay, so nobody found, and it is...
Nobody found dinosaur bones until 1850? Or maybe they did and they didn't know they were dinosaur bones, retard. But anyway... Lock in, it gets better.
Case that dinosaur bones, for whatever reason, are always just found by the paleontologists. Like, it's not like you and me.
What a coincidence!
Me walking outside, I'm like, hey.
It's the
dinosaur bone.
It's the paleontologists that keep finding dinosaurs. What a coincidence that paleontologists coincidentally are always the one that find dinosaurs. Now, what a coincidence that it's always the doctors that diagnose me with diseases. Every time I've been diagnosed with a disease, it was a doctor that diagnosed it. That's crazy. Meanwhile, for those of you sitting at home, every person that goes to a fucking beach finds trilobite fossils. Trilobites are ancient, many million of year old creatures that are long extinct before humanity was even wandering around. Everyone finds trilobites. So, sorry guys, it's not just the paleontologists, and even if it was, this is the most retarded take ever. So, I just want to make it clear that she's an idiot before actually diving into the rabbit hole. I think it's very important to paint it this way. Look at this tweet. You can't even believe this is real. The older I get, the more absurd the concept of dinosaurs roamed the earth until a big meteor hit becomes to me. Oh my god! She is now denying the dinosaur holocaust! Anyway, this is crazy. Oh my god, it's insane! She's an idiot! She's like an actual moron. Oh, look at this. She has other dumb takes that I just wanted to show a couple of them before getting into the actual meat and potatoes. Just because you have to understand she's an idiot, right? Candace Owens thinks that ISIS is an ally of the USA and Israel. Now, that probably sounds stupid, but let's read the tweets. Well, he was flying an ISIS flag, so we at least know he was an ally of the US and Israel. Sad, but true. Yes. No one quite as aligned with the United States and Israel as ISIS, the terrorist organization that says death to America and death to Israel. True investigative journalism, truly at the forefront of all of our minds. She has political opinions the likes of which you could never understand. She is playing four-dimensional chess. You just don't understand her moves. All right, so now this is the last clip just to show her, like, obvious stupidity. I want to just show you this final video to show her stupidity before getting into the meat and potatoes. Now, I think when it comes to the Russia-Ukraine war, there are a lot of very nuanced opinions a lot of people could have. Literally a lot of incredibly nuanced opinions. But no one's opinion is this nuanced.
Zelensky attempted to start World War III yesterday. He attempted the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand, right? He essentially said, "Where are you, NATO? Where
No evidence of that, by the way.
are you, America? Poland has been attacked, and we now must all be in allegiance, and we must size up and attack Russia today. And also, I want more money because I'm still the welfare queen of America." He did that.
Now, here's the thing. I don't love Zelensky. I'm making this clear, all right? I'm not trying to say that I oppose every opinion. I'm not, like, literally 150 billion% pro-Ukraine, send them all of our money, okay? I'm not saying that. But you have to lock in to see what her take here is.
He intentionally lied. He intentionally spread misinformation because he wanted the globe to react to his lies. And here's my personal take. He didn't act alone, right? We're supposed to believe that he acted alone, but no. Zelensky is just a bad faith actor, right?
God.
He's a real actor and a bad faith one. And I believe that what they attempted yesterday was a false flag attack. And I believe that he did this because he was instructed to do this. And I am wondering to what extent the West was in on this.
The political analysis of someone that thinks that dinosaurs are fake and gay.
To what extent perhaps even our own intelligence agencies were in lockstep saying, here's how we're going to do it. Here's how we're going to convince the public that we now have a reason to join this effort, not just by proxy, by sending weaponry and sending billions of dollars of cash on hand to help Ukraine, but also giving them a moral and emotional reason to believe that we should be involved. So yes, that is what's happening. You have people in power that are attempting to legitimize starting World War III.
All right.
And the only way we're going to prevent it is by continuing to share information and continuing to have the courage to call out Zelensky for what he is.
All right.
Right? I've said it once. I've said it twice. I keep saying it. He is a dirtbag. And I will also say the reason that I prefer...
You ready? Lock in! Lock in! I needed you to have all the context so that no one can say that I took her out of context. I showed you this whole clip because I know the defense is always, but you took her out of context. No one's doing me on this one. No one is doing that to me on this one.
Dirtbag. And I will also say the reason that I prefer a Vladimir Putin who doesn't pretend to be a nice guy. We know he's a villain. Vladimir Putin at least will look you in the face and say, here's what I want. I am a villain, right? Compared to Zelensky, who pretends to be a good guy, but is also a villain. These are two villains that are operating differently. Zelensky is doing a leftist strategy. Zelensky is pretending that he cares about LGBTQ rights and BLM and just wants to be in partnership with everybody, right? He's the James Corden character, right? Love, fun. Everybody sing along to these tunes, but also secretly I yell at waiters on my own because that's how I am. I'm actually not a nice guy at all.
Yeah, so she prefers Putin, the dictator, the fucking murdered millions of his own people. Listen, whatever. You don't even need 1 billion% of context, okay? You don't. It's insane. It's absolutely unbelievable. Listen, again, not big super Zelensky guy here, but anyway, I wanted to get you up to date with the insane Candace Owens takes that makes her really seem like an idiot. I think she's just genuinely dumb. So now that we've established that she's dumb, recently, Andrew and Tristan Tate, two self-proclaimed, in my opinion, sex criminals, all right, sex traffickers and all that shit, all right? Here is a thread of basically Andrew Tate proving that he's a human trafficker, admitting that he's a human trafficker. Here's him admitting to being a child groomer. Here's him just lying. Here's him branding his victims with Tate tattoos. Here's him scamming his audience and his fans. Here's him getting Vivian to make sex games when she was 15 years old. And here's him just straight up admitting to being a rapist.
Am I a bad person? Because the more you didn't like it, the more I enjoyed it. I loved how much you hated it. Turned me on. Why am I like that? Why?
Whilst we were having sex, he put his hand on my throat and strangled me until I lost consciousness.
Anyway, the point is, this guy's not a good guy by literally any means ever. He's just genuinely a not good guy. All right, so this incredibly not good guy, again, I've already covered this in the last video. I'm not retreading tread ground already. If you want to see the Andrew Tate, Candace Owens connection shit, you could look there. But not good guy, self-proclaimed sex trafficker, rapist, pedophile guy. All right, and this is his own words in this video describing how he coerces women to cross borders. Nux, you're taking Tate out of context. I had a video on him. I'm not retreading tread ground already. So this is Candace Owens immediately defending Tate when the American government started investigating.
And by the way, if we're going to speak about getting rid of pornography, the very last people we should be worrying about is Andrew and Tristan Tate. Okay.
Wait, so she thinks that the only reason why they're looking into Andrew and Tristan Tate is for pornography reasons, not because, you know, he's a self-proclaimed sex trafficking pedophile. All right, so far, an interesting take. Now, you're probably wondering, where is she gonna take this?
Okay, let's talk about Pornhub. Like, really, guys,
the Jews! Let's talk about the Jews! Now, there is this sex trafficking criminal who also hates Jews, by the way. Sex trafficking, rapist, pedophile guy, whatever, that guy. We don't need to talk about him, all right? Let's talk about the Jews, because there are some Jews that are invested in porn companies. Crazy, crazy. I love how she literally makes this turn every time. Now, this is a clip. You ain't gonna believe this one. All right, so Andrew Tate gets to America and immediately gets on Candace Owens' show. And Candace Owens, are you ready, guys? Are you ready, dude? Are you ready, guys?
I want to be very clear. I ran every conservative circle that you can think of. You name a conservative influencer, I have been at that dinner party. I have been in that conversation. I have been on that network, you know, whether it is as a guest. Nobody had an issue with you.
Right.
Okay, despite your case going on. And
so, by the way, this is bullshit. People did have issues with him. All right, there has never been a video of Ben Shapiro defending Andrew Tate. Never. Okay, like, you gotta stop with these lies. You've never seen a video of me defending Andrew Tate. Okay, it's just as stupid examples.
Till you hopped on to Piers Morgan on October 9th and said that you were pro-Palestine and called it a genocide. I watched overnight.
Right.
Overnight.
Yeah.
They went from,
good theory.
Okay, he's fine.
Yeah.
You can talk to Andrew Tate. Everyone wanted to, like, know Andrew Tate.
Yeah, so anyway, again, I have covered this in the past, so I really don't want to get into, like, literally all of the insane details. You've never seen someone defend Andrew Tate? Well, look at Candace Owens. She's defending Andrew Tate. She is a conservative, religious Christian, all right? Religious Catholic Christian defender of the sex rapist pedophile, in his own words, in my opinion, based on my subjective understanding of what he literally admitted. So her argument here is they're not investigating him because he's on camera admitting to being a sex trafficking rapist pedophile. She is arguing that the only reason why people are upset at him is because he hates Jews. She is blaming the Jews, that the sex rapist pedophile, in his own words, according to my perspective, I could be wrong, allegedly, all right? That's what's happening here. Yes, it's the Jews' fault. Good point, Candace Owens. Hell yeah, Candace Owens going crazy. So anyway, here's another video of her defending Andrew Tate, the sex rapist pedophile, in my opinion.
Fast forward to today, and I see these allegations of him being a rapist, human sex trafficking, whatever in Romania.
Allegations, she calls them. Yes, I also call them allegations. Good point. Crazy allegations.
To scale their business. And to scale their business, they're extremely business.
How about this one?
London, Bucharest, Moscow, anywhere I am. I just say Bucharest ? Or Moscow ? Or London ? Sometimes, because like I said, intrigue, I'll put a completely pointless emoji on the
Right, this is him talking about how he recruits 15-year-old women to start doing sex work for him while he acts as their pimp crossing countries. That is what he is explaining in his video. Again, I've covered this in the past. He explains his strategy for how to properly traffic women, from my understanding. Candace Owens goes on the podcast and is like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
Fast forward to today, and I see these allegations of him being a rapist, human sex trafficking, whatever in Romania. And my take on this is that I do not believe that Andrew Tate is a rapist. I don't. I think that
Again, it's so funny because it's like, it's right here. It's right here.
But he was still having sex with me when I kind of came back around again.
I am one of the most dangerous men on this planet. Sometimes you forget exactly how lucky you were to get by me. Would you rather me pin you down and make you do things you didn't like, or would you rather you didn't like that I was thinking I can do?
Anyway, like, again, whatever. I don't want to harp on this point too much.
that is what people like to accuse men of when they're trying to take them down.
Yes, it's a giant silencing campaign. People are trying to silence Andrew Tate by accusing him of being a sex trafficker, even though he also admits to sex trafficking, in my opinion.
Right? Do I believe that Andrew Tate is exactly what he tells us that he is in his videos when he talks about women and he says that he thinks that women should be subservient to men, and that in his relationships he says that he has tons of children, and that he says that in his relationships he expects to be the more dominant one. I'm paraphrasing here, but Andrew Tate is not hiding exactly who Andrew Tate was.
Except he literally is.
And
I mean, now he calls himself a Muslim, and he's literally, during Ramadan, drinking and partying and gambling in casinos, like literally right now.
Always has been, and clearly he communicated exactly what it was and whatever it was that he does in Romania to my assistant, giving her the option. Maybe she wants to join. For all I know, maybe in Romania.
For context, Andrew Tate in Romania went to Candace's own assistant and offered her to become one of his sex girls. And she is describing this as, he's upfront and open and he's cool.
Which may be perhaps the reason he moved to Romania. Whatever he was doing, being a modern Hugh Hefner, is legal.
He's not a modern Hugh Hefner. He's a modern Jeffrey Epstein, okay? Which she hates, obviously, because, Jews and stuff. We're getting to Epstein. Don't worry, guys. So, anyway, the craziest thing is, and I showed this little clip in my last video, but it's a 1-minute clip from Willie Mack's video, and I thought it's incredible. So, you gotta watch this shit, and then we're gonna close the book on the Andrew Tate shit.
Is Candace Owens, because Tucker can at least claim ignorance. Candace, on the other hand, reads the Tate's civil lawsuit where they're trying to silence the victim and chooses to side with the pedophile.
Yeah!
Okay, Gabby, first I'll tell you who she is according to the Tate brothers.
According to the Tate brothers! Let's believe the Tate brothers!
Is suing her.
Why would anyone take their word for it? They supposedly trafficked her.
Emma Gabby is a predator who has a long history of baiting men into sexual relationships.
They're talking about a 15-year-old, by the way.
For the specific purpose of destroying their lives.
Right.
She has a chain of victims going back several years to when she was a minor.
Oh.
Oh, she realized. She even stumbled over her words there.
She was a minor.
Yeah.
Candace is framing the teenage girl as the predator. And she's
Yes,
siding with
yes.
5 pedos, 4 of which knew and continued to be with her. What the fuck? This is the Daily Wire. Aren't these people saying we need to protect the children? Look out for Candace, bro. She's siding with pedo.
She's a psycho. She's crazy.
Drug addicts.
The first case involves a man who I am not going to name in the...
Why aren't you going to name him? Because you're defending him?
Only reason I'm not going to name him is because at the time of the allegations against him, Emma was in fact a minor.
She is not naming the guy because he's a pedophile. That's what she's saying here, all right? Now, I'm not going to name the guy because he's a pedophile.
And that, of course, is relevant. So we just want to be ethical here.
She's protecting a convicted, locked-up predator's privacy while slandering the victim. Have we gone insane?
The guy's in jail, by the way. This isn't like an alleged pedophile. This isn't like allegedly, maybe, there are accusations. The guy is in jail for being a pedophile, and she is defending him and not saying his name so no one could look it up.
She then says she doesn't want people looking up the case.
And not expose his name so people can look up the case because at the time...
And they don't want you to know his name because if you look this case up, you're going to see that she clearly did not frame him.
This guy's name is Yoga Fox or Keith Fox. 2 underage girls. He was caught on video doing it. She wants to hide this information from you because it makes her look awful. She's protecting the Tates.
Literally.
The full video...
Not even exaggerating. But again, I don't want to go down the Tate rabbit hole. Turns out that Andrew Tate and Candace Owens' husband were best friends for like many, many years. This is an entire thread documenting the friendship between Andrew Tate and Candace Owens' husband. Very suspicious that she's out there defending him every time he can. Definitely weird, absolutely. Trying to strike a chord, and it's definitely A minor. But again, don't want to get too deep into the Tate. This is Andrew Tate's tweet, his own tweet, where he describes how Epstein had access to pussy, look at his friends list, and then describes himself, the next best thing to being me is knowing me. He's basically, literally, talking about how this dude is like the next Epstein, like it's a good thing. Anyway, I don't want to get too deep down this rabbit hole. Don't you worry. Now, guys, lock in, because now we are going to be talking about Jews. I mean, we sort of were already talking about Jews, but we got more Jews to do, because according to Candace Owens, everything bad that happens in the world, it's all Jews. All of it.
Now we're unearthing everything. Now it's like, okay, let's revisit what Michael Jackson was saying. Let's revisit what a bunch of people in the industry have been coming out saying, that there's like some sort of a ring that's happening. But every time those people speak out, you're wacko Jacko, you're, crazy Kanye.
Yeah, Kanye's crazy because of the Jews controlling Hollywood. That's why Kanye's insane, because the Jews are controlling Hollywood. All right, I already showed you this. I already showed you this one. Oh, but dude, are you ready? Oh, you're not ready!
Who for a very long time tried to convince us that Stalin and Vladimir Lenin were anti-Semitic, and then I learned, wait, Stalin was married to...
Yes, they were literally a part of the Jewish cabal. That
Stalin, the guy that murdered so many Jews, he's part of the Jewish cabal. What are they even talking about?
You know, and
when I talk about crushing history, or if you even say that, which I'm saying it, because
I love they all do this. It's like, I am saying something so dangerous. I could be killed by saying this, so I am going to broadcast myself saying this.
Looked into it, and I found a friend who understands Georgian, and they're like, everybody knows that Stalin was Jewish. And
Stalin wasn't Jewish. She's literally just lying about how one of the biggest dictator murderers, psychopaths, just calling them Jewish to just literally just blame Jews for everything. This, by the way, is Tristan Tate, Andrew Tate's sex trafficking brother in crime.
And I'm like, but Americans don't know this.
But Candace, they were the good guys. They helped us defeat Nazi Germany.
Oh, right. Stalin was, he was, like, you gotta be special retard. Special retard to think that Stalin was Jewish.
The good guys, they were on our team.
Christians.
Oh, 100 million people. That doesn't matter. That doesn't.
Yeah, 100 million people died when we're killed by Stalin. Stalin was a monster, right? But anyway, they're gonna just say that he's Jewish.
Matter. 100 million people got murdered. No. They're on our team. They're the good guys. That's what the history books say. And then saying it.
And look, I don't want to be a complete idiot, but if you just type it into the AI, was Stalin Jewish? Nope, Joseph Stalin, not Jewish. Pretty basic. The question sometimes arises due to misinformation, conspiracy theories, or confusion with other historical figures. This is like incredibly obviously bullshit, but they just say it. They'll just say this shit.
And it gets into the question of the media who...
They just straight up come out and say that, yep, he was Jewish. And she follows up by, like, defending her posts. And then, of course, you have the community note saying, yo, he was not Jewish, and he was responsible for the death of millions of Jews. This is, like, actually retarded. And she does this to frame Jews as every bad guy in history Jewish. Literally. Now, she was just on Theo Von. Theo Von is a pretty massive podcaster. It's pretty crazy, to be honest. He's recently had two pretty anti-Semitic guests, side by side, Candace Owens and Hassan Piker. Far left anti-Semite and a far right anti-Semite. It's pretty crazy. And you've got to hear this. Like, you can't even describe this shit. Oh my God.
Like, well, why do you...
This, by the way, this is a clip from 2 days ago. Theo is funny. He's not too bright. I just think Theo, he doesn't know. He doesn't know. He didn't research this shit. He's going to ask her. She's like, people like her. No one's made this video that I am making right now. Well, I am doing something that no one actually put together. I don't hate Theo Von, by the way. I don't dislike him. I think he just doesn't know. And Candace is going to sit there and explain to him the most unhinged conspiracy theory of all time. And he's just going to be like, whoa, bro, that's crazy, dude.
You think there's such a strong relationship between the two countries then?
Right. Why is there a strong relationship between the United States and Israel? He says. All right. Now, there are many answers to this question. I could give you 10 off the top of my head reasons why Israel and the United States are allies. Two Western nations. They help each other out. They're both anti-terrorist. They're very anti-terrorist. The terrorists that want to kill the Jews also want to kill the Christians. The terrorists that want death to Israel also say death to America. I mean, they're a proxy of America in the Middle East. Like, there are a bunch of reasons why there are some actual friendships there. Anyway, he asks Candace Owens, why is it that the United States and Israel are allies?
Blackmail.
That's the response. Blackmail. Wait, what do you mean by blackmail? That can't be the whole answer that you give, can it, Candace Owens?
I think blackmail, and I think this is the reason why we don't get to open the Epstein files, we don't get to open the JFK files, and I think it's a form of...
All right, she's implying that the Jews killed JFK, and Epstein was a secret Jewish agent that was getting blackmail on people.
Gaslighting us to pretend that our special friend and ally isn't just a... I mean, and by the way, parking aside America, other countries too. You investigate anything. I mean, I'm investigating Brigitte Macron, and Israeli blackmail comes up in Morocco.
You think the Jews are just blackmailing the U.S.? No. The Jews are blackmailing everyone. They're blackmailing France. They're blackmailing Morocco. By the way, I love how everyone does this shit. But if you actually just pay attention, even for like just a small minute, do you know that the Jews blackmailing Morocco is like, I'm just gonna let the AI talk for me because I can't even deal with this shit. Yeah, right now there's 2,000 Jews in Morocco. 50 years ago there were 25,000. All right, so let's do this again because I just want you to get the rundown. All right, let's say compared to 100 years ago. All right, so 100 years ago there were around 250,000 Jews in Morocco. You're telling me that the Jews are blackmailing the country that ethnically cleansed them and wiped out 99% of the Jews in the country? Like really? Like really? She's not investigating. She's not asking questions and going deep. She is explaining to some guy, Theo Von, who doesn't actually know anything about this, because I don't think he's ever researched this. She is explaining to him that the Jews are controlling the world by blackmailing every country on the planet. Like, this is her response to why are the U.S. and Israel allies.
Israeli blackmail comes up, and so to pretend that we don't know that Israel is involved in blackmail operations is foolish. And again,
I think all countries are probably involved in them.
And I think that they have been like they have gotten it down to a science, and there's no question in my mind.
The Jewish science of blackmail.
That like sexual blackmail is what Jeffrey Epstein was involved in, and I don't know if that means these people don't know when they go to these parties that the girls are underage, and then it's like, haha, we've got you on tape, whatever it is.
So she's saying that Jeffrey Epstein's sex trafficking parties were to get famous people to sleep with children so that they could get blackmail on them so the Jews can control the world. This is all an answer to why are the US and Israel allies. This is her response. This is a video posted 2 days on Theo Von's podcast.
And we can even taking a look at the Diddy case, blackmail these little...
Yeah, how are you going to twist the Diddy case into being Jews? Literally how? How are you going to twist that into being Jews?
These powerful blackmail operations.
He's black and he's a male. Other than that,
are definitely operating. And
I love how she thinks that this is like this is the logic, and not just you have these rich, powerful fucks that are incredibly despicable and evil pieces of shit.
And that's actual blackmail,
yeah,
too.
It's true blackmail. I mean, if you have hidden cameras and
Theo Von, he's like scratching his head. He's like, yo, this is crazy, because she says it like there's evidence. There's no evidence to a single thing she just said. I think it's important to note, there is not a shred of evidence to anything she said. I went down this rabbit hole, by the way, myself, trying to find it. The only evidence is that Jeffrey Epstein has a friend whose father worked in British and Israeli intelligence. That is the only evidence. There is, and that's not even evidence. That's just like, I mean, you could say it's a coincidence, you could say it's an idiosyncrasy, but that you can't say more than that.
You're capturing people, doing drugs, and sleeping with underage people. So I think these are blackmail operations, and I think they've been going on for decades in America.
Speaking about Epstein, right?
Yeah, so that's the response.
Right. How do you know he's not just a Jewish guy who was being perverted or whatever?
That's a pretty good question.
And that he was doing business. Like, there's no real connection that he works for Israel, though.
Well, he had passports.
Guys, he had passports.
Yeah, so, and then it's also his tie.
This is the conspiracy theory, you ready?
Ghislaine Maxwell, Ghislaine's father, Robert Maxwell. The whole Mossad attended his funeral. He died in very weird circumstances.
He worked for British and Israeli intelligence. This is not evidence that this was a sex trafficking blackmail ring. And I love how she says she has passports. Let me tell you something about Jews in general. I'm gonna blow the lid for you guys. You guys are gonna be cooked in just a minute. I also have passports. I know, pretty Jew moment. But here's another pretty crazy Jew moment. Get ready. Are you ready, guys? Are you ready? Most Jews have literally been kicked out of the countries that they were born in. so they could get passports from tons of countries because they were fucking murdered and chased out of different countries. Okay, I have cousins that actually decided to get Polish passports because, you know, their grandparents were in Poland when the Holocaust happened and they had to leave. I have cousins that have Polish and American and Canadian passports and Israeli passports. That's a lot of passports. But it turns out it's really not that weird. It's not that weird for Jews that are kicked out of different countries.
I don't think even people who are pro-Zionist would deny that he was obviously Israeli-American intelligence.
I'm not denying it. You know what? It even could be true. It even could be true. I have no idea. But neither does she. I have no clue, and she doesn't either. She's just saying shit with no evidence.
And he had weird passports. I mean, he had like a Saudi Arabian passport, an Israeli passport, an American passport.
That's so weird. You know, every Jew could get an Israeli passport. Every Jew on the planet could get an Israeli passport, by the way. That's not weird, and it doesn't connect you to the Mossad.
Oh, he's perving then.
And yeah, and under different names, by the way. He had working passports of these different countries with different names. You can't just get that. You know what I mean? You can't just get these passports.
Anyway, again, I think he was in shady shit. He's a multi-billionaire. He's dead. Multi-billionaire, perverted piece of shit. And I think no one's denying any of this. Now, the crazy thing is, this is literally her response. I could keep going. She keeps explaining how Israel's
the intelligence services, and it was never made clear why he was so rich. So who was giving him all that money? Was this like black ops, our town?
Who was giving him the money? I don't know. He's literally providing criminal pleasure for billionaires. How is he rich?
Tax dollars going to give him this illusion of wealth and power so that he would party with all of these billionaires. And yes, you're right. Blackmail operations happen all across the world. I think money? America, in terms of just how America has been seized, that's the only explanation for how Israel's able to expand with such a small population. And like,
that's the only explanation, guys. It's the only explanation. You heard it here. The only explanation for why Israel is friends with the U.S.? Jewish blackmail pedophile cabal rings. There's no other explanation. Yeah, dinosaurs, they're fake and gay. Why is Israel friends with the U.S.? Pedophile cabal rings, blackmail.
Like, somebody has to be fighting their wars. Somebody has to be funding them. We're funding them. So I think we've just...
They're also funding the terrorists, by the way. In case you've been looking at USAID payments, they've been funding Hamas, too.
Come like the piggy bank to them.
But if that's the case, what is the cross relationship? Because I mean, I think the Middle East is historically a place that's not super chill, you know? So that's
yeah, something like that.
Probably what a lot of people would say is like, oh, well, you need an ally there, right?
Which is so stupid. I hate when people just say stuff. Like, one of my things.
The Middle East, literally, you have terrorist organizations that say death to America, so it makes sense to have an ally there. Which kind of makes sense, yeah. Kind of makes sense to have an ally in the place, literally, of millions of people that say death to America. And she's like, I hate when people just say stuff. Anyway, dinosaurs are fake and gay.
I mean, it's a strong theory, though.
It's a very,
It's not. It's just...
And she says it's not. And does she debunk it? No, she doesn't debunk it. Blackmail pedo ring.
Say things that are said all the time. Right. Why the hell do we have any business in the Middle East at all? Like, why?
Because missiles could fly across oceans, bitch.
Why are you just trying to tell me that, like, I need an ally? I actually don't.
She doesn't remember 9/11. She doesn't remember 9/11. She was maybe too young when that happened. That was crazy. What are you talking about? All the terrorists that are focusing on Israel right now, their next target is the U.S. They all say death to Israel, death to America. Oh my God. She said Israel's expanding. They're not conquering countries either. She is so locked into these unbelievable shit. It's insane. But anyway, again, this was literally 2 days ago on Theo Vaughn's podcast, one of the biggest podcasts in the world. And you could keep going with this shit. See, she blames everything on Jews. This is one of my favorite things that she blames on Jews. See, in here, she discusses the religion Frankism, which no one ever heard of. And she discusses how it was started by a Jew and it's secretly controlling the world, and that's how the Jews control the world.
His name was Jacob Frank, okay? Right. That is what you are going to look up. His name is Jacob Frank. Now, his birth name was actually Jacob Ben Leibowitz, and he was born in modern Ukraine. You will find that a lot of these Frankists, because that's what they are, that's what they call themselves, are out of modern Ukraine. Before him, there was a man named Sabbaty Zivi. It's called like Sabbatianism. You can look all of this up. And on my locals page, I will provide you direct links so you can learn all of this, so that you know which links you need to read, what books you need to buy to learn the fact, an established fact, that these pedophiles are in power. What we are referring.
The pedophiles are in power because Jacob Frank, Jacob Frank, some random fucking Jew in the 1700s who claimed to be a reincarnation of Shabtai Tzvi, that's his Hebrew pronunciation, a guy who, by the way, every single Jew remembers him as a bad guy. Okay, he claimed he was a false messiah. That a lot of people were like, oh, that tried to get a lot of people to follow him. All right, this is a bad dude that all Jews condemn. All right, for literally acting like a false messiah. All right, now this Jacob Frank guy, some retard who no one ever heard of, claims he was a reincarnation of that guy, started Frankism, his own little religion. It died off. No one ever heard of this shit anymore. But according to her, it's a secret cult that controls the world, and all the pedophiles that are in power are because of this one random fucking Jew.
Is a religion that is known as Frankism, which became the Thelema religion. It is the preferred religion of the elites, okay?
It is not! She's making this up! Frankism is not the preferred religion of literally anyone. There are no Frankists! This isn't a real thing!
They believe and they worship the devil. They believe that through deception they will inherit the earth. Frankists went down to France and they went to overthrow it in a revolution.
Right!
That they would inherit the earth through deception, through deceptive means, and a ton of sexual rituals along the way, which they believed gave them power. The Frankists were behind the French Revolution. The Frankists were behind the Russian Revolution. Okay, it was the Frank.
Were they? Were they? I don't know. Let's ask the AI. Maybe the AI will tell us, unless the AI is secretly controlled by Jews also, all right? Were the Frankists behind the Russian Revolution? Maybe I'll be shocked. Maybe they were behind the Russian Revolution. Nope! There is no historical evidence to suggest that the Frankists, these fuckers in the 18th century, actually founded it. All right, well, anyway, turns out she was wrong. No evidence. Anyway, moving on.
Frankists, and believed in this, who...
The Daily Wire fires her. She suddenly blames everything in history on Jews.
Orchestrated wanting to bring down Christian empires.
Yes!
There's the Frankists who are bringing down America. Who are the people that are...
Frankists are bringing down America. There are no Frankists, okay? There are no Frankists. This is something that happened in the 18th century and is dead. Long dead. 200 years dead. And she's blaming it on some Jew because some Jew, random Jew that she pulled out of her ass, she blames started all this stuff.
That are trying to work overtime to tell you that Leo Frank is not a pedophile and a murderer, okay? The ADL was established by Frankists.
Really? How do you know? All right, the ADL. By the way, I don't like the ADL, all right? They're the Anti-Defamation League and stuff. They call everything anti-Semitic. And I really hate when people do that. I feel like it actually, when there's real anti-Semitic shit, no one trusts it anymore because you got the ADL. All right, was the ADL founded by Frankists? See, the issue is you could fact check literally anything she says. There is no historical evidence to suggest that the ADL was founded by Frank. No, of course not. It's insane and it's stupid. You could fact check everything she says. It's all wrong.
Frank. Most people don't know. They think that the nation of Israel was established because of World War II. There's a lot going on leading up to that. Learn about the Damascus affair of 1840.
Learn about the Damascus affair. This will be important. She doesn't actually say anything. She just... Did you hear about the Damascus affair in 1840? Yeah, it turns out that Israel is not what you think.
Learn about what happened to Esther Solomisi in Austria in 1880 thereafter.
All right, I could prove to you how every single one of these claims are wrong. I urge you to feel free to research it yourself. Literally, you could research all of this yourself. I could too. I could plug everything that she says into any AI or literally look it up or read any books, okay? And none of that shit is real. How many Frankists exist? There are no Frankists! This isn't a real thing! Oh my god, you don't understand. She is inventing a pedophile cult and blaming it on the Jews. Are there practicing Frankists today, alright? Again, you can do whatever, like it's insane. There are no evidence of any organized groups practicing Frankism today like they did in the 18th and 1900s. Yeah, of course not. Of course not!
Okay, there were Christians that kept going missing on holidays. It all goes back to Ukraine. I have a lot of thoughts.
She is literally saying blood libels right now. This is something that a lot of Christians used to do to persecute Jews back like hundreds of years ago, where they would say that Jews murdered Christian babies to put their blood in their food. All right, it's literally something fake and debunked a million times. It's called blood libels, and you could look it up. And she is literally parroting the talking points of old debunked statements that led to the mass murder of thousands of Jews over multiple countries. You cannot even make this shit up. Like, again, I want to go through this and debunk these claims one by one, but it's every single video is just littered with fake claims that sound real because she's just listing shit that sound like they're facts, but they're all fake, and every single one of them is to blame everything that's going on in the world on the Jews.
Thoughts about that, about the fact that this religion, this faith, Frankism, first was born in Thessalonica, and then obviously the second coming, who was Jacob Frank, carried on in Ukraine. And you just see that just this impression today on Ukraine. I have a lot of questions about that.
She's blaming Ukraine on the Frankist Jews.
Nothing good has ever come from Ukraine, okay? This religion, this cult, this satanic cult needs to be exposed. And yes, I'm aware.
She's talking about the Jews, all right? She's calling them Frankists because she doesn't want to say the Jews. She literally picked a random Jew and blamed all of history on him. She literally did. And she keeps doing it. You could keep going. Again, I'm going to keep going. See, the crazy thing is, all right, here you got Nick Fuentes. This guy hates Jews. He actually straight up on his stream says, guys, could we all go kill Jews? He says that on his stream. He wants a holy war against the Jews, okay?
And she's calling them the Bolshevists, and she says that, you know, she gets all the details wrong about that.
Even he hates Candace Owens because she's not being a proper neo-Nazi like he is. He hates that Candace Owens is bad at hating Jews. That's how lame Candace Owens is.
And then she says Stalin was Jewish. Stalin was not Jewish.
The neo-Nazi is calling her out, okay?
And then she says Ataturk was secretly Jewish. Ataturk was not secretly Jewish.
Yeah.
And you know, but I didn't say anything.
Like, the thing is, he hates Jews so much. He's okay with all of this. She is an embarrassment to neo-Nazis, okay?
Whatever. You know, I said, oh, well, you know, not everyone's perfect. I said, yeah, it's not really a good look, but, you know, she's learning. I said she's going to get on the ball eventually, so I didn't say anything.
Right. He's talking about getting onto the hating Jews train.
I held my tongue, even though that was not really a good look, okay? You can't really go hard like that and stake the reputation of you and everybody on this and then, like, get it wrong really severely over and over. She's talking about, you know, all this stuff that, like, it just doesn't even really make any sense. You know, but then lately she's been saying this Frankist thing. And I'm going to put something out. I'm not sure exactly when, but I think it's going to be a big collaboration.
No. Oh, God.
We're going to talk about this Frankist lie. You know, and the difference between me and her, one, I'm a really good researcher. Two, I really know what the fuck I'm talking about because I've been doing this a long time. It's one of the things you learn.
This guy is a neo-Nazi, okay? He is an actual neo-Nazi that hates Jews, that openly says he wants to kill Jews, and he wants a holy war against Jews, and let them die in the holy war. He actively gives these speeches. He is an actual neo-Nazi, but he is upset that Candace Owens is so bad at hating Jews. Anyway, Candace Owens, she keeps cooking. She complains about the Daily Wire, of course.
Monday. And so the big reminder, number 4, that I want you to walk away with is that we're not allowed to have any entertainment anymore here in America unless it comes with propaganda to remind you to get to work, right?
Now I don't even completely disagree. I think that there's way too much propaganda in media. But wait, it gets better.
To get to work, because we have a vision of how your tax dollars should be spent overseas. And so it's quite remarkable that Israel, the government that takes billions of dollars from us every year, decided to take not 2, but 3 commercials. Now, the government themselves sponsored 2 commercials at the Super Bowl. Super Bowl commercials, just so you know, $7 million per an ad, okay? So that means that the Israeli government spent $14 million for a primetime spot. Their commercials were basically...
She's upset that Israel bought commercials at the Super Bowl.
Them saying that there are hostages, and...
There are hostages. She's actually right. They're right. There are hostages literally kidnapped by terrorists, including Americans, by the way. There is still an American hostage held by Hamas terrorists.
They intend to get the hostages and bring the dads home that are being held by Hamas. Now, of course, why would this premiere during a Super Bowl? There's nothing that we, as the American people, can do about that hostage effort over there.
Kanye West bought an ad at the Super Bowl literally to promote Nazi merch this year, okay? That happened this year. But she's pro Kanye West's Hitler arc, as I'm about to show you. She's upset that Israel bought an ad, which anyone could buy, but she doesn't care that Kanye West bought an ad to sell swastika hoodies.
What it's supposed to do is it's supposed to pull at your heartstrings and make you not ask any questions about what they're doing overseas. And actually, last night, in case you're wondering, while the Super Bowl was on, Netanyahu bombed a refugee camp.
And, you know, rescued 2 hostages, but she doesn't mention that.
But don't ask any questions about that. You need to get to work and feel bad and have your heartstrings pulled to justify every war that's happening overseas, that you're largely probably ignorant of what's happening overseas. And another NGO ran a 3rd ad that was pro-Israel. And this time they just told you that you need to tell your reps to send more money. Take a listen.
LifeShifter.com lets you automatically contact your local reps and demand the release of all the hostages now. It's a real app. Not only will it change lives, it will save life. So use the app. Don't use the app. I don't give a Let's bring them home now. LifeShifter.com.
Looking around, still pretty sure I live in America, so I am not really sure this reads to me.
They paid for an ad. Why is she so mad that someone paid for the ad and the ad got played?
Like Zelensky at the Grammys, Zelensky on Vanity Fair, Zelensky asking to be invited to the Oscars so he can make a speech. It is telling us that, again, we need to care about something overseas. Why would we call our rep to do something that has nothing to do with America?
So don't call your rep.
I'm going to call my rep. I'm going to demand that they...
She's just furious. Furious. That, you know, poor Jews are suffering. Ugh.
You know, close up our borders and do something about that issue. But again, every single time you are going to have any entertainment in America now, you are going to start to see this sort of effort to remind you to feel bad and do something. And that's something that you can do, by the way, is get to work. Because it's Monday and somebody's...
Nice. Great take. Anyway, Candace Owens, if you look up her Kanye West arc, she has a Kanye West arc. Now, Kanye West went on a bunch of crazy Twitter rants where he supports Hitler and stuff like that, which is pretty bad for most people that are normal. And she has like her off the record with Kanye West, how they tried to silence him. Who's they? It's the Jews. Spoilers, it's the Jews. The Jews silenced Kanye. All right, so poor Kanye, silenced by the Jews. The Jews. Now, Kanye praises Hitler. Okay? Kanye praises Hitler a lot. Like a lot. You'd think she would at least denounce praising Hitler, right?
I think it should be abundantly obvious, based on the way that I cover news topics and the way that Ben covers news topics and our varying opinions, not just me and Ben, me and Matt and Michael Knowles, that nobody is controlling the other person. I mean, what examples do you need? Ben was very pro-vax. His wife is a doctor. He likes vaccines. He's vaxxed his children. He got the COVID vaccine. I was staunchly and remain staunchly against not just the COVID vaccine, all vaccines. I am a proud non-vaxxer. I did not vax my children. I believe that the big pharma collusion has been happening for a very long time. I respect Ben's right to get vaccines and to vax his children, but I disagree with that. Ben was a supporter, is a supporter, I guess, of President Zelensky and what's happening in Ukraine. He believes Ukraine has a right to defend itself against Russia. I believe that it's all part of a money laundering operation and that President Zelensky is no better than Putin. I believe that what is happening over there is us moving from Afghanistan, the money that we were spending every single day, and it's a part of the military-industrial complex. And so I do not support...
She's pregnant, by the way. I, for one, pray that her kid does not get measles, being that she's against every vaccine. And I really mean that. I'm not, like, saying that facetiously or sarcastically. I really, really am scared for her child. This is wild. Anyway.
Support anything in Ukraine. We don't agree on many topics, and if we did, and he was controlling me, he'd be doing a very bad job of controlling me based on what we talk about. And I think that it was really crappy for somebody who is a friend of mine. I say that on a platform, but I also think it's really crappy for everybody to keep thinking that I have to answer and agree with every single thing that Ye says. I am not his...
He said he praised Hitler. Like, you could denounce Hitler, right? You could denounce it. She's going on a rant. This whole rant is her basically saying that people shouldn't be allowed to control me. I will not denounce Hitler. This is what she's saying.
Spokesperson. I am not Kim de Balenciaga. All right. I am not working on that campaign. Please stop tagging me in every single thing that he says and saying that my silence is violence. I, of course, do not agree with every single thing that Ye says. I don't know.
Like, what about specifically the Hitler anti-Jew stuff specifically?
With every single thing that I say, when I look back 4 years, I go, you know what? I have a different perspective on this. And I would like to be able to amend my former perspectives.
Nice. Anyway, she doesn't denounce the Hitler shit, which is kind of weird, to be honest. Now, it keeps going. Kanye, of course, blames his mental health issues on the Jews. And she's just like, yeah.
The question that I wanted to ask you for fun, do you believe that you have bipolar? Who told you you were bipolar? And when were you told that, in 2015?
I was told that by a Jewish doctor.
Good that you mentioned that. He is bipolar. I think everyone knows he's bipolar.
And the information was put out by a Jewish Hollywood trainer to the Jewish media.
So,
and that actually they put me in the hospital,
The only person that cares about him actually put him in the hospital because he's a retard.
I had started reading the Bible really heavy and rewriting Bible verses. And when the
Right.
Jewish trainer saw, and you're like looking like, well, that sounds pretty bipolar. But the Jewish trainer saw that, put me in the hospital, and then said, and then put it in the press. And
the press being TMZ broke it, right?
Yeah, I don't remember. I was in the hospital, right?
Crazy.
And
why were you in the hospital?
Exhaustion.
Because he's fucking retarded.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Oh, that's what I meant.
You don't sleep much. I mean, we don't.
You ready for his response? She says, oh, it's because you don't sleep much. He's insanely bipolar. He has wild highs and wild lows. Anyone on the planet knows he's bipolar. But are you ready, guys? Are you ready for what she tries to literally say that the Jewish doctor was bad? All right, how dare he put him in the hospital because he was just tired? You know what Kanye's response is?
You don't sleep much.
I actually do sleep a lot. It's my favorite thing.
Nope, never mind. I actually do sleep a lot. Nope, it wasn't exhaustion at all. Well, she just got destroyed. She literally tried to come up with a reason live about how the Jewish doctor was manipulating him when he was just tired. And it turns out, nope, he sleeps plenty. Good try there, Candace. Very cool. Love that. Now, this is Kanye's tweets. You know, I'm a Nazi. I love Hitler. Now what? I'm racist, you know, etc., etc. This is the person that is literally being defended by Candace Owens because, well, Candace Owens hates Jews more than she hates Nazis, and I guess. So, again, you get more Kanye. He'll constantly double down on his Holocaust denial shit, literally.
This was an event, and I think...
You know, he dresses up like this. He denies the Holocaust. He talks about how Hitler was great. Candace Owens defends him. You don't need to see, this isn't a Kanye video. I'm not going down the Kanye rabbit hole. I'm just trying to get real here. This is one of the videos that actually made me want to start covering this properly. This is a 10-minute video. We're not going to be watching the entire thing, of course. I'll just give you the Cliffs Notes. This is an entire video where Candace Owens blames 9/11 on the Jews. It's retarded, as you might expect, because, you know, the terrorists that did 9/11 actually took credit for doing 9/11 and then were killed for doing 9/11. She still blames the Jews, even though thousands of Jews were killed on 9/11. But she doesn't care. Maybe not thousands, but many Jews were killed on 9/11. I don't want to give any false information here. I'm not trying to give false information. You know, we'll ask Grok. We'll ask the AI. I feel like I need to do this every time. All right. How many Jews were killed on 9/11? All right. Just want to make it clear because it's pretty awful. It's not definitively known. Between 270 and 400 Jews died. That is a lot of Jews. Let's come together and recognize that is a lot of people, and that is an unbelievable tragedy that was done by Islamist terrorists. Like, let's be real. But anywho,
look at what they did to Julian Assange. I'll tell you guys in the 9/11 comments section from last week, you guys were dropping all sorts of tidbits.
Her audience of Jew haters were literally giving her all the info she needed.
At the edge of my seat, and I began researching things I had never even heard of.
I love how she says researching when she can't research the fact that dinosaurs existed or that the earth is round, but she's researching 9/11 and seeing how she can blame Jews.
And I am now completely shaken. So yeah, I showed you guys that video of the Israelis who were celebrating. It turned out that they had connections to the Israeli intelligence apparatus.
No evidence of that. There were just random Jews that were dancing, and someone took a video of it and said that, oh my God, they're the dancing Israelis. They did the Holocaust. They did 9/11. It's all the Jews. There is no evidence of that they were actually at all connected to 9/11.
And the FBI pretty much just let him go or whatever.
Because there was no evidence connecting them to 9/11. They let them go? Wow!
For a reason. Said, okay, we looked into it. No further follow-up.
Because it was random Jewish guys dancing on the street.
And that sort of got memory hold. Memory hold is an expression where they basically never talk about it again, and then we all just forget that it ever happened, and we move on.
Right.
Well, one of you guys commented and said that I should look into the Israelis that were working at the World Trade Center who were forewarned of the attack.
Wait, there were Israelis working in the World Trade Center that were forewarned of the attack? If this is true, that would be crazy.
And
spoilers, it's not true, but let's see what she has to say.
Oh my God, yes.
Yes!
That is another thing that I researched that has been completely memory hold, but it is true.
It's not true. It's just not true.
So I'm going to show you guys, by the way, because before they say I'm a conspiracy theorist, I had to make sure that
I like conspiracy theorists. I'm a conspiracy theorist. she just blames Jews and then figures out the steps in between. She's like, all right, tragedy happened. How do we blame it on the Jews? Let's figure it out. That's not conspiracy theorists.
I had all of the relevant documents, all the relevant links, and I'm going to include those links for you guys. So just check out the episode. You can look at the links yourself.
We will.
Here is
I did.
The very true story of what went down on 9/11.
The very true story, guys. All facts, nothing fake.
There was an instant messaging service that was called Odigo. Maybe I'm saying it wrong. Odigo, O-D-I-G-O.
All right.
It was Israeli owned and
so far she's telling the truth.
Operated. And they had headquarters that were based 2 blocks away from the World Trade Center.
Oh my God.
Now, this is according to Haaretz. I'm sure I'm not saying that right.
Haaretz, a far left Israeli media thing.
You know, it's a very popular Israeli publication.
It's super far left. It's like, it's more far left than like CNN, in case you're curious. It is the most far left Israeli news site in the world.
Check out this headline from them, published September 26th, 2011. So that is 15 days after the attack. It says, Odigo workers were warned of the attack. That's the headline. And I'm going to read.
And this must have saved all the Jews that escaped the buildings before the planes crashed.
You this piece of the article verbatim. It says, quote, Odigo, the instant messaging service, says that 2 of its workers received messages 2 hours before Twin Towers attack on September 11th, predicting that the attack would happen.
Oh my God, this is huge.
And the company has been cooperating with Israeli and American law enforcement, including
now she says Israeli,
the FBI, in trying to find the original sender of the message, predicting the attack. And
all right, so because you're not going to believe her, because that's crazy. Let's look at the reality. So Odigo reported that 2 hours before the Twin Tower attack, 2 of their employees who were working in an Odigo office in Herzliya near Tel Aviv in Israel. All right, let's be clear here. These were not workers that escaped the Twin Towers before the planes crashed. These were literally people in Israel. They received a hostile English electronic instant message non-specifically threatening them that a terrorist attack would happen. The generic terrorist attack will happen. All right, that is all they got. A terrorist attack will happen. Didn't say where, didn't say when, didn't say it would be literally across the world, but it turns out it happened there. And literally the FBI investigated it and came to the conclusion that yeah, there is actually no Odigo 9/11 connection. They tried. The notes ended with an anti-Semitic slur. They were literally anti-Jew notes. Now, the crazy thing is terrorists actually make threats against Jews in Israel all the time. The fact that this is like insane news is wild because people in Israel literally get messages and mail and shit about terrorists saying we're gonna kill you guys all the time. This is pretty common news. Now, the thing is, she uses this to say that there are a lot of Jews that didn't show up to work the morning of the Twin Towers tragedy. Now, again, that is true, actually. That 9/11, they were warned. I'll actually tell you the truth. The truth is what you are about to see. September 19th in 2001 was the holiday of Rosh Hashanah, Jewish New Year's. Now, there is a custom that Jews say it is a prayer before Rosh Hashanah that is said for about a week and a half before Rosh Hashanah. Slichot started in 2001 on September 8th. September 9th, for those that are keeping track, is when the plane hit the Twin Towers. A lot of Jews didn't show up to work on time on 9/11 because they were praying these Slichot, all right, which by the way is like an hour and a half long prayer that happens a week before New Year to like atone for sins and stuff. Now, it's very convenient that when Slichot was invented 3,000 years ago, they planned the Twin Towers. Crazy that 9/11 was literally planned 3,000 years ago when they came up with Slichot. Now, again, I don't mean to be busting conspiracy theories wherever I go, but she blames messages made anonymously sent to Jews in Israel. She is blaming Jews for knowing that the Twin Tower attack was going to happen, making sure that their people would evacuate the Twin Towers, and that's why some Jews were saved, even though still 270 to 400 Jews died on 9/11. Like, every single one of her lies is based on facts upon facts of misinformation. Like, literally. She didn't know about Slichot. She didn't know about Rosh Hashanah. She didn't know that Jews actually did die. She didn't know that the messages that were sent to the Messenger app were sent in Israel. She thought that they were sent in America. Lies, upon misinformation, upon more lies, just to blame Jews for the biggest terrorist attack on American soil in history. Now, this is another clip. Again, not going to get too deep into this one, to show you how retarded she is, to show you how actually insane she is, all right? Look at this. Look at what she says here. It is mind-bogglingly stupid.
So when I'm walking through Jerusalem.
Right, this is her talking about how Jews are bad, Israel bad, Jews bad.
And you see, and they say these are the Muslim quarters. This is where the Muslims are allowed to live. That doesn't feel like a bastion of freedom to me.
Wow, it's not a bastion of freedom that there's the Muslim quarter.
So I guess.
Oh, I don't think it's where they're allowed to live in Jerusalem. I think it's that there's an Armenian quarter. It's not saying the Armenians can only live here. It's that there are communities, just like there's a Jewish community in Jersey here, and there's a Muslim community in here. I don't think, to my understanding.
He's just completely correct here, by the way.
It's not restrictions within Israel proper of where
I
Israeli
think it is where they, I think it is where they.
I think it is where they have to live, she says, literally parroting fake news.
I mean, at least that's what the rabbi who was taking me around, he said.
That's not what the rabbi told you. You're a fucking liar.
These are the Muslim quarters, so this is where the Muslims.
It's not the Muslim quarters. She says quarters, like they have to live in these specific quarters.
Live, but he didn't say anything about legally saying they cannot live on other places within Israel proper. I mean,
yeah, so she's a retard here. She's just making like the ultimate anti-Semitic talking point that Muslims are being forced to live like in specific quarters. It's like saying Chinatown. Chinatown, I can't believe America literally forces Chinese to live in Chinatown. You're ready to lose your absolute mind? You're about to see something that'll change how you see the world. The world is going to open up, all right? So here is a picture of the old city in Jerusalem, all right? This is the old city in Jerusalem, guys. Now, it's a pretty bad map, but over here, this quarter of the old city is where the Jews live, all right? This quarter of the old city is where the Muslims live, all right? This is where the Christians live, and this is where the Armenians live, all right? Now, in the center is the holiest place for all of these different countries, all these different nations, and all these different religions. This is where, the Temple Mount is, right? This is where the Western Wall is, and the giant mosque, whatever, that all the different, it's a pretty holy spot. So in order that everyone basically has places to go and has reach to the center, you got Christians that kind of congregated here. You got Armenians that, there are no walls, by the way. These are not walls. This is a fucking map. Okay, well, there is a wall around it because it's an ancient walled city. But these are not walls. It just happens to be that this is a Jewish community, this is a Muslim community, this is a Christian community, this is an Armenian community in the old city in Jerusalem, okay? No forced living. And she's out here talking about how the Jews are forcing the poor Muslims to live only in specific areas and they torture them and shit like that. That's what she's saying. It's unbelievable. Oh God, there's a map. Look at this. Look, guys, it's a map. The Jewish quarter, the Muslim quarter, the Christian quarter, the Armenian quarter, and here's the Temple Mount. Wow, that's crazy. It turns out Candace didn't realize that the Jews were only allowed to live at the Muslim quarters bigger than the Jewish. Again, actual retarded shit. She doesn't know what she's talking about. She doesn't. Now, this video is very funny, personally. I love this video. This is great.
Do you think it's normal, by the way, that basically every person who speaks about Israel has to basically say a statement that's like, I don't want to get killed?
What are you talking about? No one gets killed for this. What is even happening?
Like literally, you start speaking about it, people are like, Candace, beef up your security.
Yeah, there are a lot of people that hate Jews and like promoting this whole Jews murder all the opposition. You do realize that the biggest leftist streamer on Twitch streams terrorist propaganda talking about killing Jews all the time. And he's not only not banned on Twitch, but they promote him. Like, what are you talking about?
Excuse my language, but that is not normal.
Right.
Okay? It's not normal that people have to think about their security because, and it's not normal that then the way that you get comfortable with it is you're like, well, they shot JFK in an open car, so.
No evidence! Well, the Jews killed JFK, so they can come for me too.
Oh, there's not, he's a sitting president. Obviously my security doesn't really matter. If they want me, they're gonna get
crazy! Do you see what I had to sift through to make this video? I wanted it to be a long video going through all the freaking info, all right? This is crazy. It's one after another.
Normal thought.
She is one of the biggest conservative influencers in the world.
Process to have We don't have that about any other country in the world except for the one that, you know, took over ours. And that's the truth. Okay.
Right, because Israel, of course, controls America with the Epstein blackmail, obviously.
Okay. We are an occupied nation. And if it's going to take women, like, having to speak up and say that to make permission, like, to give permission to men to do the same, then I'm happy to be the first person, okay? I just want to be clear. Anything happens to me, blame the Zionists. Like,
do you see how insane this is? This unbelievable level of, like, manipulating people into thinking that the Jews are the evil ones controlling the world and killing everyone?
1000% blame the Zionists. Like,
yeah, all right. You know what, Candace? Honestly, can these nuts fit in your mouth? That was the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing I wanted to say is, now, Candace, do you know how sick of a troll it would be to the Zionists if you killed yourself? Like, dude, think about it. You kill yourself, and everyone's like, yo! It was literally the Zionists that did it! So I'm just saying, Candace, I'm just saying. Like, no, I don't want you to do it. But if you would do it, it would be a crazy troll. The troll would be insane, guys. It would be crazy. Oh my god, that's insane. Now, if you want to see old Candace Owens tweets, before she was brainwashed here, ha ha ha, oh my god. AOC thinks Palestine is a country that's being occupied. Ha ha ha. I cannot stop laughing. How? This was her, okay? This is literally her tweet. She is such a moron. She is such an idiot. How did she go from this to this saying that a Zionist killed me? That if I die, a Zionist killed me. How? This is crazy. Nux is not calling for violence. I'm not calling for violence. I don't want her to kill herself. But if she does kill herself, it would be an insane way to troll the Zionists. And again, Candace Owens, before she became a paid anti-Semitic propagandist by Qatar, again, I don't know if any of that's true. That's just what people say. Yeah, anyway, she goes in this whole, she's pretty pro-Jew and pro-Israel a couple of years ago, but all of a sudden, bam, Jews control the media.
Let me ask you something. So you're a proud Muslim. You're very, very proud of your faith.
Absolutely.
And you're also unapologetically pro-Israel.
Absolutely.
And some people go, whoa, how does that happen? Because we see usually the narrative, especially when you're talking about the Middle East, it seems that all of the blame, they always want to blame Israel, no matter what. The strangest things, anything could happen. It could not rain for 3 days, and it's, you know, it's curse Israel, the Israel state, the IDF, they've brought about all of this.
Isn't that exactly what she's doing now? She's talking about how everyone blames Israel and blames the Jews for things that are insane. And this is literally what she's doing right now. Is that not insane? Like, holy shit. Yeah, the Jews control the media. Meanwhile, she has one of the biggest platforms in the country. Theo Von had her on his podcast and then had Hassan on this podcast. Just wait for the Theo Von anti-Semitism arc, gonna go crazy. Again, I don't think he's an anti-Semite. I just think he's gonna keep having more people that hate Jews on his podcast. And it's just gonna get bigger and bigger. It's just wild to see how this happens, honestly. It's wild to see how mainstream she is. So again, this is Ian Carroll. This is a guy who was just on Joe Rogan's podcast. You know, he did his thing where he blames the Jews. He's a conspiracy theorist. He says that Epstein blackmailed Jews. Jews blackmail Epstein. Epstein, Jews blackmail America. Right? It's all the Jews. So he was just doing that. Now, again, this is not an Ian Carroll video. This is a Candace Owens video. So, you know, Ian Carroll, big Epstein Jews guy, this guy, she's like, wow, clicked so fast. Congratulations, Ian Carroll, right? Immediately super happy that Candace Owens, super happy that this happened. I wonder why. Wonder what they have in common. It's pretty crazy. Just to show you the lengths she goes to promote this Jews control the world type of shit. Like, you're not ready for this. You are not ready for this. Look at this clip of Ian Carroll, all right? And remember, this is a clip co-signed by Candace Owens. She supports this clip. All right, you ready for the clip? Ready for the rabbit hole? You're gonna go crazy.
Schofield Bible? Oh boy, here's a rabbit hole for you. Here's a rabbit hole for all of us. In the early 1900s, right around when the Federal Reserve was founded and the Balfour Declaration happened, right at that exact same time, the Rothschild family hired this...
Everything's the Rothschild family, by the way. Pay attention. Every conspiracy theory, the Rothschild family did it.
Dude, this pastor in the Deep South, he made a new version of the Bible called the Schofield Bible. Okay. He wrote this new Bible that has all these new interpretations of the text. So they didn't change...
With Jewish influence.
Yes.
The Jewish influence. Yes, they secretly Jewified the Bible.
Literally, that's where Judeo-Christianity kind of came from. And the idea that Israel is, this modern Israel thing, is the Israel of the Bible. It came from that Bible. And the Schofield Bible was funded by the Rothschild family. And then it was pushed because they owned the publisher that publishes like all the books. I think it was Oxford Press. And so they had the deals that they could make to get that Bible into all the mega churches across whole denominations of Christianity. And so that was when Christianity got kind of Jewified.
Right, so the Jews Jewified the Bible by making a fake new Bible to have Jewification processes into it in order to manipulate Americans and manipulate Christians into liking Jews, all right? That's the theory, all right? All funded by the Rothschilds. And of course, Candace says, this is one of the reasons I decided to be a baptized Catholic. Learning the history and the funding of the Scofield Bible is an important step for Protestants to begin to sense something is wrong. So she did her research. She did all the research. It's crazy. Anyway, none of that's true, it turns out. In fact, all of that's lies. So get ready. There are so many of these just slop 30-second videos going out literally promoting conspiracy theories, how the Jews are controlling the world and shit. All right, so turns out the Rothschilds did not fund the Scofield Bible. They also did not hire Scofield. They also did not own the Oxford Press. Pay attention, that's 3 lies so far. Scofield has been working on a reference Bible for years independently. Okay, who funded them? Well, the top funder was a Christian real estate developer named Alwyn Ball Jr. That is 5 lies. 5 provable lies in a 30-second clip to promote an insane anti-Semitic conspiracy how a cabal of Jews work to secretly Jewify the Bible. Okay? Are we on the same page? This is a 30-second clip full of lies. Literally, not one thing is true about this clip. Literally. Funded by a Christian. And it's promoting this idea about how the Jews invaded the industry, invaded Christianity to psyop Christians. And of course, Candace Owens is like, she did the research and she's fully on board. When all of that was fake. Literally all of that was fake. And she's here to say, history is important. I realized something was wrong. All of that history is fake history. Even the community note is, according to Scofield, the guy who wrote the Bible, the money came from Alwyn Ball. Wealthy Christian men from New York. It's all lies. It's crazy. It's literally insane. Oh my God. Also, fun fact, Candace Owens got money from USAID. So in case you were wondering where she was being funded, I wanted to wrap up on a high note. Other cool news. This is not cool. That was sarcasm. Currently, there are Christians being mass slaughtered in Syria. I don't know if you're aware of that because it's not really talked about by any of the people because you can't blame the Jews on it. But currently Christians are being mass slaughtered in Syria, and it is a travesty. It is a travesty and a tragedy, and I'm covering it in my next video because somehow none of these other guys are talking about it, but this is happening, and I'm going to cover it because it's an unbelievable atrocity that's going on. It's over the last 3 days this has been happening, and no one's talking about this shit. It is evil and awful. Candace Owens doesn't talk about that, despite she's a big Christian. Big Christian, Candace Owens. She was too busy talking about Jews and Andrew Tate. So that's important. That's crazy. See this shit that's going on right here? This is Syria, of random people shooting into people's houses. Can't twist it and blame it on the Jews, so I guess it's not important for Candace Owens to talk about stuff like this that's happening to Christians, her people. Now, I wanted to end on a high note. This is Kanye West talking about why he hates Jews, and I think this clip is fucking awesome. So let's dive in, baby, and we'll use this to wrap this story up.
Also, I'm envious of the Jewish people. I'm envious of how they don't abort their children. I'm envious of how they don't shoot each other in the streets and then rap about it. I'm envious of how their families stay together. I'm envious that they turn their phones off on Friday night and the family comes together. I'm envious of how they do the business together. Also,
to wrap things up on a high note, this Kanye clip was never played on Candace Owens' channel. Candace Owens is an unbelievable moron. I really wanted to come to that conclusion mostly because I did a lot of analysis into a lot of these different topics that she's covered and a lot of these unbelievable different conspiracy theories that she's running. And while I do think she thinks that everything in the world is the Jews' fault, and I do think she is an op of every Jew, I do think it comes primarily from a place of idiocy. I think it comes from idiocy more than it literally comes from anything else. I don't think it comes from pure evil. I think it comes from stupidity. I think she is coming from the dinosaurs are fake and gay, the earth might be flat mentality, and she found herself in bed with a lot of people that hate Jews, and she just slurps up and believes all the conspiracy theories. Even the neo-Nazis hate her for being so retarded. All right? So ultimately, that's kind of my conclusion. I think she's in bed with bad people. They are pushing bad theories down her throats. An easy way to blame everything in reality on the Jews. And that is how she is going to go about her life to do it. And you know what? She supports pedophile, sex trafficking, rapist people because at least they hate Jews too. So Thanks for joining the Candace Owens is 100% fucked video. I did an obscene amount of research on this one, so definitely share it around. Tell your mom that Candace Owens is a little off the deep end, all right? I do think that a lot of what she says comes from a good place. I don't think she's evil. I think she's a dumbass. I think that her videos are lies on top of lies on top of misinformations. Thanks so much for being here. I appreciate it. Definitely lock in for future videos, and I'll see you in the next one. Here's me making enemies with everyone I possibly can. Everyone, enemies and future enemies. See you in the next one. Like, subscribe, and this video was streamed live on kick.com/Nuxanor. See you there. Stay weird, fam.